Hey everyone, welcome back to the Frankenstank show. We are going through all of the monster cards. We've gone through all of the transaction cards and four of the previous episodes. We also began the defensive cards with the last episode. You can go back, I've got this all on a playlist for those of you that are trying to watch through all of these episodes to see which monster cards are going to be most effective for your game plan moving forward. Keep in mind, everybody's going to start with 3 monster cards every Frank season. One of them will be a total surprise. It'll be it'll be a random wheel spin to determine what one of your monster cards are. The other 2 you're going to get to draft, so you can have a little bit of strategy going into it. So if we're going to talk strategy, we want to bring on some of the greatest minds in Frank history, and that's what I've been going back and doing, and having a lot of the guys that have played in Frank before, that have, especially some that have had some success. You can't get much better success than to be the champs. And we have a father-son combo here, James and Taylor. You guys know them better as Batulak. And what was Well, first of all, James, Taylor, thank you very much for coming on and talking monster cards for us. And if you would, tell us a little bit about your experience in Frank, especially your championship season, and also mention to them what your team name was, so they have a point of reference. So we'll start with you, James.
Yeah, so our team name was Predator, and we, uh, we 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 were very inexperienced, but it was great. We got a lucky run. We had to draft our monster card in the first round. We took Freddy Krueger. After much debate, me and Taylor went back and forth, discussing what we should do. And Freddy was the one that we ended up going with. And then what we did is we alternated picks. So I'd pick first round, he picked second round, so forth, back and forth, and it was pretty great. And then our strategy throughout the season was the same: just discuss it and see how we could do. And luckily we came out on top.
Taylor, do you think that we're going to continue to keep this as a father-son tandem team here, or are you going to be branching off and you guys each have your own team moving forward?
That's actually an interesting question. I think probably keep it together for one more year just to get a little bit more acclimated in the league, since I think that was our first year doing it, right?
Yep.
So I mean, we kind of just winged it, didn't really know what we were doing. Probably got more lucky than we did get. We were good, maybe.
Do you remember the player you tagged Freddie with?
Oh no, to be honest.
Tyler Algier.
Tyler
Oh
Algier.
yes, I do remember that. Then yeah, that was
Yeah, that
my
was
idea.
Taylor's. Yeah, that was his idea.
And that was a good one at that time, because he wasn't getting a whole lot of run at running back last season. This year, obviously, he's getting more standalone value, but with the Freddie card, for those of you that don't remember, we haven't recorded that episode yet, but basically, all you need that player to do is just score any kind of a stat at all on MFL, and if he does, then he will be rewarded with an average of the top 5 players. I think it is, maybe top 10. Either way, you're getting a top 5, top 10 running back. You're getting the average of those, and automatically getting those points for that player every week. But the cool part about that card is basically the only way you lose it, for the most part, is if you play it against certain cards that could steal it or could stop it. And as long as you're paying attention to the cards that you're going up against, you can kind of plan for that as well. So, and I am going to be sharing the screen here with the monster cards to show you what you have to look forward to when you sign up for Frank Season 6. You're going to be sent this Google Sheet, and it kind of goes over all the other possible cards that you could be going up against. And I haven't finished filling it all out yet, but the guys that have come on as guests have already received this, so they'll be able to kind of see those updates when they check in from time to time throughout the offseason. But hopefully by I'd say May, June area, this sheet will be completely done, and we'll already have a couple of divisions filled out. But today we're going over 3 monster cards. We're going over the Invisible Man. Wolfman, which formerly was known as the Silver Bullet, just because I always kind of felt like it was odd having essentially a weapon, a bullet, as a monster. So I switched that over to being the Wolfman, and then we added a fun little not really horror or scary movie related. Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb. That one was inspired by my son, who at the time was about 19 years old, and asked me if I could create a Dr. Doof card, and I said, well, why not? So yeah, there are like, probably a handful of real, actual, legitimate monsters that were left out that I couldn't get to, but I still threw in a few of these fun ones. But you guys had an opportunity to go over these monster cards. I'm going to read through the description real quick and then get your guys' feedback on this. And when I say feedback, I mean questions about the card, maybe potentially some strategy. Obviously, you guys being defending champs when we come back, I don't want you to give away all of your cards. I don't want you to lay them all out on the table, but if you think of potential strategies to use with them for people to look at, that way, if they happen to draft the Invisible Man or one of these cards, they can go back and maybe get some expert advice from you guys as well. But we'll start with the Invisible Man here. We kind of joked before the show, since Taylor wasn't able to have his screen up, he is adequately representing the Invisible Man right now. But this card can be played twice during the season. If Ghostbuster or some other defensive card is played against it, then you'll lose one of the following two abilities, but not both of them. You can do each of the following things once with this card. So some of the cards are like this, where it has multiple powers. The Invisible Man has 2 powers. You can use each of those powers once. The first one is that you get to block a player from being taken from your starting lineup in Vampire Steal should you lose. Again, if you don't know, Frankenstank, if you lose for that week, your opponent gets to steal a starter from your team. If you play this one, you're going to play it by noon on Thursday before Thursday Night Football, and you're going to say, I have CMC this week. I do not want CMC to be stolen in the event that I lose. That allows you to still go ahead and play him and not have fear of losing him should you happen to lose. And you only get to save him for that 1 week. And then for the second power, you can make one adjustment to your opponent's starting lineup. The idea here is you're the Invisible Man. The way I picture it in my head, I didn't get super descriptive like I did some of the cards on this one, because this is one of the older cards. But basically, the Invisible Man, you're protecting with that first power. You're protecting a guy from being stolen because they didn't see you coming to swoop in and protect that person. But with this one, I visualize it as the Invisible Man gets to come inside your opponent's living room, open up the laptop, and he's typing in there and he's setting your lineup for you. So you can make one adjustment to your opponent's starting lineup before the week's matchup begins. You'll submit the lineup adjustment in the message board, and your opponent will need to make that change. So when you post it in the message board by noon on Thursday, your opponent has to make that change. If they don't, then after the week's done, the commissioner will go in, and with that one position where that player was supposed to be in the starting lineup, we will put 0 points for that one roster spot. So you're basically saying this is who's starting and this is who you're benching. And if they don't do both of those things, then we'll put 0 in that spot for you. So that's it for the Invisible Man. So initial thoughts on that one. Taylor, we'll start with you for this one.
I mean, I really like the idea of just how aggressive you can be with the second ability of that card. How you can either use it to, I don't know, try to potentially steal a player from the other guy whenever you know you're going to have a good week and they're trying to potentially put him on their bench, or vice versa. You know you're going to have a bad week and you kind of need a shot in the dark, and you can throw in someone that obviously isn't going to do well into, like, you know, CMC, as you said earlier, type thing. Take him out of their lineup for the week.
Yeah, James?
Yeah, so can you use both powers in the same week?
Oh, that's a good question. You know what? I don't see why not, just because just because this card, in my mind, compared to a lot of these newer cards, it's not a super powerful card. And I was kind of trying to think of a way to make it more powerful. And I think that that's a good way to do it. So I'm going to type that in right now. Why do you ask, though?
I was just curious because I was thinking, you could possibly save it for a matchup that you are concerned about, but also protect a player in case you lose, and you're targeting somebody. Was my thought. Now, it has to be the first power one time and then the second power. You can't do two of the first and not do the second.
Correct. Yeah, you can only use each one of them one time.
I gotcha. Yeah, it's not the most powerful card, but it has some playability. I'm not sure if I would be targeting this card. I need to see the rest. So there is, how many different categories? Is there 10?
Yeah, 10 categories is 120 monster cards.
120 monster cards. So have you thought about so you get 2 and 1 is by wheel spin, right? And the wheel spin is later on. So you draft the first 2.
Yeah, so the wheel spin is going to be round 13. So everybody's going to get a monster card in round 13, and that's going to be a complete blind wheel spin. You have no idea which one you're getting.
Like I say, you kind of trying to pick your first 2, and then it's just kind of by luck.
Yeah, the first monster card will have to be drafted in the first 2 rounds, along with rookies and second-year players. And then the third monster card you can pick whenever you want.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's an interesting card. I don't know if I'd be selecting it, but if it becomes my wheel spin choice, I'd have to really put some thoughts on how I was going to use this card. Or actually, I would get Taylor. Like, Taylor, how are we going to use this card?
Yep. No,
that's why he's never allowed to leave my team. We're always going to be a duo.
Well, I feel like if nothing else, if he wanted to start up his own team, we could just make sure you guys are in separate divisions, and then you could still, bounce ideas off of them.
There you go.
So yeah, I agree. I don't think that the Invisible Man is a super powerful card. I did make some adjustments to it here and there, including the one that we just made live together, to make it a little bit more intriguing. But yeah, for the most part, it's not an aggressively powerful card. But it, like you guys said, strategically speaking, especially if you play it at the right times early in the season and get you a couple of wins where you can pull off some good vampire steals, it could set your team up for success later. I also like that with this card, this is one of the cards that's not completely season long. If you use the 2 usages, then we just drop the monster card off of your roster and you get that extra roster spot. Roster spots are going to be very, very slim this year since we're adding 2 more monster cards, and I don't think we're adding any more roster spots. So they're going to be using up, precious bench spots on a lot of people's benches. So you got to think about that if you want to do a year-long card and not have the roster spot, compared to having some of these types of cards where you can get those better roster spots and have a deeper depth on your roster going through the regular season, through all those bye weeks. So it is going to make it a little bit more challenging on that end. So that is one thing that I like about the Invisible Man.
Yeah. And so, you can play cards in conjunction. How can this be used with other cards?
So let's take a look at, because I haven't finished all of the charts, so I don't really know completely, but if I take a look at it, basically, if you look off to the right of the sheet, this says Jelly Blob. And so if you're, let's say your opponent has Jelly Blob or you also have Jelly Blob, you can go over here to this little square right here, and it says the designated protected player used with Invisible Man is also protected from the blob. So that means if your opponent has the blob that week and you don't want him to use the blob against you to steal CMC, then you can use your Invisible Man. You're not only protecting him from the vampire steal, you're also protecting him from being taken from the Jelly Blob. and then
Gotcha.
each one of these cards individually will have down what it can and cannot do eventually when I get through the entire list.
Good thing you're starting early because there's a lot of cards.
Yeah. Well, that's also part of the reason why I had to take this season off. I needed a break from Frankenstank, and I think Frank kind of needed a break from me so that he could make a big comeback. And a lot of that is me doing all of this work early on, for sure.
And you're lining it up. Season 6, 2026, season 6?
Yep, exactly right. Yeah, we get it back in balance. And so, well, I guess it's never really been in balance. We've always been kind of because season 5 was in 24. So by doing this, we're lining it up. Yep, I like that. Let's see. We've got the Wolfman is next. This one used to be called the Silver Bullet, like I said earlier, but for the Wolfman, I didn't really change the concept of the card itself. It's still a protective card used for defense, but I just kind of changed the idea or the theme of it, and that is that a dog is a man's best friend. They're kind of the protector of their owner. So the owner of this card gets to select one player to protect from being stolen for 3 straight weeks. And a lot of you remember last year, Negan, the Negan Smith card from The Walking Dead, was a new card where you could protect one player all season. So I had to think of a way to make this one a little bit more powerful because you're only protecting one player for 3 weeks. So the way I've done that is after that 3 weeks are done, or as long as they don't overlap, so you can even take a couple weeks off in between, and then you can choose a second player to protect for another 3 weeks. So it can't be the same player, and those 3 weeks for each one of them cannot overlap. So you're having the opportunity of essentially to make sure that you have one player that isn't stolen for 3 straight weeks, and then another player that's not stolen for another 3 straight weeks with the Wolfman card. I started with Taylor on the last one. So James, what are your thoughts on this one?
I really like this card. I think I would want this one over the previous one, just because you get the 6 weeks of protection. I think you have to really examine who you're playing before making the choice, and line it up appropriately. See who's if you got 3 teams in a row that's running back heavy and you got a running back you want to save, then you don't want to use the power then. Maybe save it, look for a wide receiver or tight end. Yeah, I really like this one.
Taylor, any questions about this one or other strategy points?
Yeah, I mean, it just, my only question is I guess what would be the reasoning to not allow the player to have just 3 weeks of protection outright instead of just the 3 straight weeks, if that makes sense?
You mean
choosing your weeks?
Yeah.
So some of that is because a lot of these cards, like most of them on a commissioner standpoint, is kind of hell to keep track of. And I just felt like locking them in for 3 straight weeks makes it easier to determine when the card's been used and when the card is no longer effective, and it just makes it less confusing on a commissioner standpoint. But
100%.
But more importantly, I wanted to really dip into the strategy of these cards.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, just kind of like to your dad's point there, you really have to pick and choose when you're going to play it on which player. So all of the cards may be powerful, but sometimes it can also kind of hurt you a little bit for some of them. And this might be that kind of situation.
No, I like that. It makes you have to kind of pay more attention to your opponents and also to your players to your matchup heavy players, if that makes sense, because certain players are going to have streaks where they're just going to have really good weeks.
Yep.
So is there going to be any cards that will counteract this one, so it'll make it null and void?
If so, it's going to mostly be other defensive cards. So far, it's been mostly good. for the Wolfman. Like we already said, it's protected against the Blob. I've got it protected against Hannibal. I've got it protected against Puppet Master. Tremors is a fab free agent pickup card, so that has absolutely no effect. Krampus, it's protected against Krampus, so I don't know that it's going to have any negative effect on anything. Like I said, I've only gotten through Krampus on this list, and it's not even all the way through Krampus, and that's only like the 7th card on the list. But I do think that there's going to be some defensive cards where, like, if you're going up against, say, Ghostbuster, because everybody knows Ghostbuster has a special place in my heart. I use Ghostbuster, I think 3 out of the 5 years. And I love the Ghostbuster card, so there's a good chance that I'm going to keep it as powerful as possible. So, like, if you have Wolfman and you're going up against Ghostbuster, then maybe Ghostbuster can stop it. So you might have to plan ahead for that if you want to protect CMC for 3 weeks. But on that 3rd week, you're playing Ghostbuster. Well, you probably shouldn't waste it there, because you're probably still going to lose CMC if you lose. So there will be cards, I'm sure, that interact with it.
Gotcha.
All right, Dr. Doofenshmirtz. That's the last one here. So Dr. Doof works kind of like Ghostbuster, and I just mentioned Ghostbuster 100 times, but you go back and look at the last episode that we did, and with the Ghostbuster card, basically you get to block your opponent from using a monster card against you, and that's going to be effective against almost every monster card out there that can be used against you. So if you have Ghostbuster and somebody's attacking you with a card, you use Ghostbuster to block it. But what makes Dr. Doof special is it works like Ghostbuster, only it pushes that power right back onto your opponent. Obviously, that won't work for everything, but let's use the Blob, for example. So let's say I'm going up against you guys, and you guys have the Blob. Then right here, I've got it set up so that if you guys are going to use the Blob against me, then I can use Dr. Doof to flip that right back on you, and now I get to steal a player from you, which is what the Blob's power is. The Blob's power is to steal a player from me without even having to give anybody back in return. So now I play Dr. Doof, and I get to steal somebody from you. So that means you don't want to play the Blob against me if I have Dr. Doof. Let's see. So, Taylor, what do you think about that card?
Well, I would have to say thank you to your son for the idea, because I mean I really like this card based off the description. I mean, yeah, it definitely seems like something I'm going to immediately go for, and some ideas pop in my head that I don't necessarily want to say, but I mean, it seems like it's going to be very powerful. And
so the idea on the card itself is because like I said, he was a big fan of Phineas and Ferb, so I did see a lot of those episodes when he was growing up. And what I noticed about Dr. Doofenshmirtz is that whenever he tried to do anything against Perry Platypus, he always screwed it up, or against the boys, he always screwed it up, and it always ended up coming back on him. So that's why I felt that was a justifiable way of working the card here. He finally gets to prevail, and he gets to push the powers back on other people. So
that's really creative. I love that.
But yeah, so far on all of these, Dr. Doof has been able to basically flip the power back on the opponent. And again, unless it's against other defensive cards, I feel like it's probably going to be the case. Dr. Doof will probably be a pretty powerful card. Any immediate strategic thoughts from you, James?
So it's only a one-time use?
Yes. Yeah, this is a one-time use only card. And so Ghostbuster used to be a one-time use only card too, and since this card is now a little bit more powerful than Ghostbuster, I've bumped it up so that you can use Ghostbuster, I think 2 or 3 times, I think twice, because I didn't want one to be that much more powerful than the other, to the point where you're like, okay, well, obviously nobody's even going to want the other one. So yeah, this one is a one-time use only.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about. So which one are you going to choose now? Is it going to be Ghostbusters, or are you going to go with Dr. Doof?
I think I'll probably go after Dr. Doof just for shits and giggles, just to try it, because again, being a one-time use card, I'm probably going to use it the same way that I used to use Ghostbuster, which was a one-time use card. Strategy wise, and I've been very open about this, and I still don't see how it's going to be, how it's going to hurt me by everybody knowing that that's my strategy, because it's that powerful. But with Ghostbuster, I used to, every single week, whenever I would come up on my opponent for the next week, I would say, hey, listen, I've got Ghostbuster. If you play any card against me, then both of us just lose our cards and nothing happens. So it's kind of pointless to use it against me. And they never used it against me. So every year, every single week, I was using the card every week without ever actually needing to use it. So I feel like this could really do the same thing. But since you have 3 monster cards apiece, there's a chance somebody might still go ahead and take that chance and be like, you know what, I'm going to call your bluff. I'm going to use the card, because if I lose it, no big deal. So then I can use that card against them. I lose my card, they lose their card, but at least I still get a power out of it.
Right. Yeah, I really like that. I love your strategy in regards to that, using it like a hostage situation.
Yeah.
At that point, I say let it burn. I'm throwing my card out also.
Taylor's going to want all the chaos cards.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the hostage situation. We do have a Hans Gruber from Die Hard card this year, so that's going to be fun. That is a hostage card.
Love it.
Yeah,
this should be interesting. Yeah, I can't wait to see all the columns filled out. I think, like you, I would try to use it in a situation to like not have my opponents use it, but it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out against every single card, because there might be some times that I'm like, you know what, I got to take a chance.
yeah, and I think ultimately I don't think there's going to be one single card that has power over all other cards. Like, I think they're all going to have at least a handful that can do something against them or stop them in some way. That way, you're still going to be on your toes. You're still going to have some kind of negative strategy to it. We even had something pop up with Frank last year with one of the cards. Not Frank, the Freddy Krueger card that popped up with last year against one of the other monster cards, and the Freddy card owner did not see that angle coming, and it ticked him off so much that he dropped the league. He just left.
Why?
Yeah. And I mean, and that's actually what inspired me to create this Google sheet too. That way nobody can say, well, I don't feel like it should be that way, because basically that's what it was. It had to be like the commissioners had to get together, and we ultimately decided that it makes sense that this card would do this with that. It should be able to still be processed against Freddy. I can't remember which card it was. I wish I did. But we ultimately decided that it should be able to be processed against Freddy. And that guy assumed that he was losing his Freddy player out of it, which wasn't the case. All that happened was he got 0 points for his Freddy player that week, and then the guy ended up stealing somebody else. I found a replacement for that guy, and that guy, the replacement, wound up making it into the Final Four. He was actually battling in the Final Four with you guys. I don't know if you played him or not, but
that's crazy.
Yeah, so who knows how good his team could have been if he would, because it was a rookie that stepped in and still made it that far, not knowing any of the rules, and so I mean, who knows? But you never know. But I really hope that people don't take this stuff personally. That's why it's only like a $25 or $30 buy-in. That's why a third of it is going to charity every year, and that's why these monster cards are made to wreak havoc, because I want people to attack each other and piss each other off.
Meant to be fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So on this card, could you use it against Freddy and steal the power for one of your cards?
So I'm not sure on that yet. I haven't really decided. Yet, but I feel like in the my initial thought is yes, in the spirit of this card, absolutely. But again, I don't want this card to be that way against every single card across the board. I want some cards to be able to over trump Dr. Doof. So I don't really know, but off the the tip of my hat, I'm just thinking yes, most likely the Freddie card holder will be able to choose to bench their player if they want to against Dr. Doof. And if they do decide to play them, then they're taking the chance that Dr. Doof might play their card against them and say, okay, well, if you're going to play Dr. Doof, or if you're going to play for the Freddie card or the Freddie player, I'm going to get the points. Yeah, that's absolutely a possibility and most likely going to be the case.
Wow. Yeah, it's going to be
again, the Freddie player will get the opportunity to bench their player though.
Yeah. Well, if you got the first card we talked about, you got to put them back in the lineup. Force them to put them back in the lineup so you can steal it from them possibly.
That's true. All the combinations of the cards are going to be really fun this year. Adds like a chess element almost.
Yep. And you're going to have 3 different style of people. I feel like you're going to have some people that are just going to try to use up all their monster cards early on, get that early jump, get those bench spots, those coveted bench spots I was talking about. Maybe try to force pressure, get a couple of wins early so that you can get some vampire steals, get some good players. Then you're going to have guys that are going to be trying to, keep their cards for as long as possible, use them for a possible playoff run, depending on the cards that you have. And then you're going to have guys most likely like what I'm thinking in my mind, my strategy, use them a little bit throughout the season as you go, strategically, depending on who you're facing, that sort of thing.
I plan on being like reactive and predictive, I guess, with mine.
Yeah.
It all depends on if you lose, the first couple of games, then you're not using them at all. You're trying to get a hero first.
That's right. Yeah. Now, in the hero you're speaking of, you get a hero if you go. I believe it was 0-2. 0-3.
0-3.
I think it was 0-2 or 0-3. Yeah.
Might be 0-3, but I'm thinking anybody that goes either like I think it was 1-3 or 2-4 or worse is going to get a 4th monster card too.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
So I'm throwing that in as well. I haven't worked out exactly what the record's going to have to be, but that'll be in a later episode of more of the rules episodes that I'm going to be doing, because those are also going to be broken up into sections of the rules. But I want everything to be on video so that everybody can go back and take a look as well as they need to. So I just got to hope that my YouTube channel never gets shut down.
Let's hope not. So what is just off the cuff, what are you thinking your first 2 cards? Are you going to pick, like, you got certain ones you're thinking of, or are you just going to let it flow?
I don't know. I do know that there's so many and they're so powerful. And since you have to take one in the first 2 rounds, I'm pretty likely, depending on where I draft, I'm pretty likely to wait and just take my first monster card in the 2nd round. And then it's probably going to be like, I'll probably have mine tiered and I'll have a whole list of ones that are really powerful. And then of what's left, I'll just kind of pick one that I like, maybe one that I've never had before that I've always thought was awesome, like a Freddy Krueger, or like even I don't know about Jason Voorhees. See, like, and that's the other thing. Like I'm a horror film lover, if you will. Like I love horror films in general. So I also I might be a little bit on the side of wanting Chucky, even though I don't think that's a super powerful card, just so I can have the Chucky card, because I am still in the works of creating the new actual cards as well. I've obviously from seasons past, I've had the actual trading cards made, but I've got to get all the new ones created as well. But it's on my man Andrew Campy, and he's a busy man. So I'm hoping he has it all done in time, because I don't know how to do that stuff. But those are the 3 monster cards for today, though. Any other questions, comments, concerns from you gentlemen?
Those playing cards are awesome, by the way, that you pulled out.
Oh, have you guys never gotten any?
No, we have them.
My dad probably does. Yeah.
Yeah, I kept them.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I thought I always gave the champ I should have thought about that. I should have given you guys 2 since you're co-host. I can think
Knowledge
real
grab
deeply on
them is.
120 monster cards, but I let the smallest details like that slip right by me.
Well, if he wants to come see his father, he can see the cards. So he's just got to come over and see father.
I might pull an invisible man and come like look at him
Steal
through the window or something.
Yeah, I got him in my desk over there, actually.
Oh, there you go. Now you know where to rifle through the desk, Invisible Man. All right. Hey, I appreciate you guys stopping in. I appreciate your time and your wit. The strategy is going to be ever flowing. So can't wait for season 6. And yeah, that's about it. Next episode is going to be what we got. The creatures from the TV show From. So that's more of a newer TV show relative to most of these monster cards. But the TV show From, if you haven't seen that one, it's pretty mind trippy, and they've got new episodes I think coming out early 2026. So that's
going to be the one on Hulu.
I don't know exactly what it's on. My wife and I kind of just have one streaming service at a time, and then we watch everything we can, and we cancel it, and then start another one.
I feel that.
I have no idea what it's actually on, but and then Antoine Chigurh, that's from the movie No Country for Old Men. Absolutely love that movie. This isn't a typical horror movie, but the bad guy in the movie is kind of a serial killer that has a very unique weapon. I don't want to give too much of the movie away, but if you've not seen No Country for Old Men, it's an older movie. It's a thriller, and it has I'm trying to think of the name of that actor, the police officer in that. Do you remember who that is? I'm gonna look it up because
I can't think of him off the top of my head. It's Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones. There you go. And that was also the first movie where you get to see Tommy Lee Jones and Josh Brolin together. And they're not like relatives or anything in that movie, but the whole time you're kind of seeing some similarities. And then later on in life, like in actual life, Men in Black use that, and Josh Brolin plays the role of a young Special K or Tommy Lee Jones from or Agent K, I should say. Not Special K. That's a cereal that my heart doctor wants me to start eating now. But that's always fun to be able to see those connections with the actual actors later on. And then the third card we're going over on the next episode is the Poltergeist. So horror film wise, that's a staple. That's an iconic movie, the Poltergeist. So all 3 of those are new monster cards as well. So brand new rules, brand new strategies, brand new everything. So that'll be the next episode. I don't know who I'm going to have on for that one just yet. My medical issue from last week kind of moved a lot around, and scheduling wise, and I don't know. If nobody else, then I'll come on myself and I'll do these 3 monster cards. But anyway, I appreciate you guys for coming on. Appreciate your time. Merry Christmas to you guys both.
Thank you for having us.
And for anybody watching as well. Yeah, you bet. Absolutely. See you in season 6.
Can't wait. Merry Christmas.